Can you hear me now? Good morning and welcome to Build Your Best Life with Deborah D. Smith. I have a passion for assisting young men in overcoming the obstacles that they have in their lives by using basic principles. I believe it is better to train up now than try to fix later. Good morning and thank you so much for tuning in. We are having some technical difficulties at the moment. That's why we were late getting on. I apologize, but we have some real talk for you this morning. So let's see who we have on here. Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Manetta, Billy. Thank y'all for tuning in, Tiffany. All right, as we're going to get started soon. Anastasia is trying to get her audio going here. But we are so delighted to have you on for our maiden launch of Real Talk with Deborah and Anastasia. We have been trying to get this off the floor for about 3 months, and finally today, and now we want to have audio issues. But prayerfully, we are going to get started soon. But as you know, I'm always talking about subjects that are very relevant to assisting our authoritative figures as well as our young men and building bigger, better, and greater lives. And I know that as we look at the news every day, we see it seems like it's all going backwards. There's just so many things that are going on in the world, all the murders, the protests, the different mass killings. You know, we had the the guy in Atlanta that decided he was going to just shoot up the supermarket for whatever reason. And I understand that he had mental issues. However, you know, I'm just thinking, hey, I'm the mom, I'm the sister, and I know that you have issues, but I see you with this weapon. I don't take it from you or, you know, call someone to get help for you, whatever. I just let it languish on, and then you go out and kill 10 people. And all of that, you get shot in the knee. Very interesting. Very, very interesting that, you know, he was shot in the knee after killing 10 people. I found that very, very interesting. You know, and then I forget where it was, where the guy went into the Publix, and he's just walking around in Publix with his weapons or whatever. Like, you know, it's just an everyday occurrence. There's no issue with him walking around with these weapons. But luckily, you know, someone intervened and called. But what is going on in the world? We need to step it up and help our young men. I know we have so many, and I don't want to, you know, make it sound like we don't have any young men that are doing the right thing, because we have thousands and thousands. So that's why I'm 100% sure that if we equip the rest, they can step up and do just as well, because we have young actors, young entrepreneurs, you know, just like the little young man, he went out and decided to make bow ties. He made that into a business. I think someone else just invented a energy drink, another drink of some type. We have artists. I think we have, and I'm going to try to get him on next month, Henry Dinkins. Oh, when you talk about artists, oh my goodness, we will be reading about him in history books in upcoming times, because he is excellent. We have excellent youth music directors and leaders, and like I said, actors. I had a young man on the 16th. He is a writer, an actor. He draws, he sings. I mean, he's a Christian. He goes out and saves people. So our young men are doing the thing. They are doing it. But we need to assist the others in stepping up and being able to build their best lives in the same manner. Hi, Anastasia. Can you hear me? I can't hear you yet. I am so sorry. We have a tremendous talk that we want to do this morning. Good morning, Quinn and Linda. Thank y'all for tuning in. I rushed and, you know, text a lot of you to try to get on, because, like I said, we've been trying to launch this for a while, and I know it is a great talk. So, you know, what can we say about technology? But we are trying here. No luck. And she has signed off, and I'm going to, when she gets back on, I'm going to see if maybe if it doesn't work this time, if she can just call in, and then at least we can hear, you can hear her portion of the talk, and we can get it done. I'm open to try anything this morning. Good morning, Deidre. Thank you for tuning in. Manetta, I'm not sure if I recognized you before. But I am super excited to have all of you on this morning. Just having those technical difficulties. You know, what can we say? We cannot live without technology, and sometimes it's like, whoops. So we are going on here. But, you know, just like I was saying, you know, I know a lot of times we're, you know, saying something about adding our young men. Are you there?
Yes. Can you
Yes,
hear me?
yes. Great. All right. Anastasia is with us, and you can hear me. I can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yay! All right. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. I really appreciate it, and we will not keep you any longer. We are going to get started. And Anastasia, can you tell them a little bit about yourself for those who don't know you before we get started?
Good morning, everyone. Like Miss Deborah said, we've been at this for a little while, communicating, trying to get this going. And I thank God for the progress of this morning. I am Anastasia Smith, based in Nassau, Bahamas, and I have a passion for becoming. Hence the name Be Becoming. I believe that we should always be in progress of, we should never be stuck, we should never be stagnant, and we should always be pursuing more and pursuing greater. And so in every way that I can assist young people with that, educators with that, that's what I'm here
Thank you. Good morning, Tamika, Jocelyn, and Carol. Thank y'all for tuning in. All righty, here we're going to get started. Go ahead, Anastasia.
for. Okay. Now, in your blog this week, which spoke on the importance of your name, what's in a name? It was illustrated of relevant principles to young men today. Young men need to realize their name, reputation, and credibility are some of the most critical aspects of their lives. It should be protected. I wholeheartedly agree with you on that statement. It is very important for us as young persons to realize that the things that we do now can have an effect later. And when it is that you hear a name, when you hear a name like Madonna, Beyonce, there's an attachment to the name. And so in your blog, you gave a quote about a good reputation. Tell us a little more about the origin of the passage and its meaning.
Thank you for that, Anastasia. It's in my blog. I gave the quote, "It takes 1 second to ruin a good reputation, while it takes blood, sweat, tears, and years to build or rebuild one." And that's an original quote that I came up with. And what that means is that every action a person takes, whether it is oral, written, those nonverbals, it impacts their reputation and credibility. You know, what you're known for is your reputation. Your credibility is how your reputation impacts your ability to be believed and trusted. Trust is a big thing. But your reputation and your credibility go hand in hand. Once you lose your credibility, you lose your good name as well. You know, and as you go through life doing the right things, then you are building that credibility. And it's like similar to give an analogy, like paying your bills. So if you go about paying your bills timely, you always make sure that you pay at least the minimum amount, your credit score begins to get higher and higher. So in the same way, when you are honest, you keep your word, you follow the golden rule, and you do different things like that, then you begin to build a good credibility. And so it may take years and years and years to build that credibility. And if someone hears your name, "Oh, I know her." Oh, I love her. She has this sweet personality. Billy, oh my, I haven't known Billy that long, but I mean, as soon as I start interacting with Billy, I knew that she was a person of integrity. I know she's organized. She's a go-getter. I just love Billy. But you have this great credibility, but it can be gone just like that. I mean, you cheat on an exam, lie to your parents, you go in a store and steal a 50-cent item and get caught. You're drinking and driving and you begin to get DUIs, or you have an accident and kill someone, manslaughter, you go into jail, using drugs, selling drugs, using deadly weapons. All these things can ruin that good reputation. So I use that quote often, but that's kind of where that came from and what it entails.
Wow, that's really strong. That's really strong. I don't think that a lot of times we think about the effects of where having fun in the moment and enjoying what's happening right then, but later on you may be a world leader. And these are the things that people will dig up about you and they will try to find, and it can be really, really harmful. Um, and so I think that when young men, particularly because, well, I don't know what the ratio would be in the United States, but we keep on hearing here in the Bahamas that the ratio is 12 females to 1 male, which is pretty drastic. So their importance, their significance to the carrying on of our nation is something that, we would want for them to think about more and to consider more. And a lot of that is in the weight of their name. So let's talk about men that you've encountered that are doing well.
Well, I named a lot of those while we were waiting, but like as an example, Henry Dinkins, he does art. I featured him last year, but I mean, his art is just breathtaking. And, to think that this young man just started to draw, and it is such high quality and everything that I was telling them earlier. I know that he is one that will be in the history books in the future because his artwork is just off the charts. And I'm trying to get him on my youth chat next month. So hopefully he will be on. But he is a great example. And I was talking about the young man, I forget his name, that was an entrepreneur, but he decided to design bow ties, and they just started selling like hotcakes, and off the chain. The OCs, that's the original Christians. Those are some young men that live in Dallas, Texas, and I had the opportunity to interview two of them. I've interviewed Damian Charles, and I've had Courtney Bell on, and Courtney just had me just in awe of everything that he is doing. I mean, this is a young man. I believe Courtney is either 16 or 17, but he's a Christian, so he believes in trying to save people. He strong-willed. He doesn't let his peers pull him down. Because I asked the question, do your peers try to dissuade you from, speaking up and being a Christian? He says, he doesn't even let that enter into his mind, so it's not going to change his mindset. But this young man is a writer, and he says, sometimes I have problems having, strong conversations with some people, but I begin to write and it just flows. So we know we got an author in the making. He does acting, he draws, of course, he sings. They're in this group, and they're going to be on Tuesday at 6:30, as a matter of fact. So those of you who are free, please tune in on Tuesday. We have young men that are choir directors, Ministry of Music leaders. So they are doing some fabulous things out there. So it just makes me proud, warms my heart to know that, what I believe in my heart, that young men are out there they want to do, they have the talents, and they're thriving. And so that we just need to give a hand up to the remainder of them to assist them. But Anastasia, now you are an educator, so you must experience a lot of young men who are doing a great job making wise decisions, and doing those things are key in building good reputations and credibility. Their parents and their community have to be so proud of what they are accomplishing. Let's talk about some of those that you encounter.
Well, I've had the opportunity to get to know persons like Lucius Fox, Jazz. They're making waves in baseball and in sports. We got guys like Buddy Hield, Jonquel, who they're killing it in basketball. Even throughout the pandemic, they're still setting records and, soaring high. We have people locally like Tori Farrington. He is a speaker. He's a motivational speaker to other teams. And he's been doing it since about 13 years old. And he's an attender of Life Changers Ministries, which is my church. And ever since he was even younger than that, he was always one of those kids that you can put to pray, put to lead worship. He was always an example to the other kids around him. And so from 8, 9, 10 years old, you could see in him that he wanted to be a leader, that he wanted to be a positive example to other people. And he didn't wait until he was 20, 25, anything of that nature to say that this is something that he wants to do and he wanted to start. From the age of 13, he's been booking engagements, All
right.
We have persons like Carrington, who is a singer, and he is at the point of traveling and recording and booking engagements and everything. And you would want to think that they'd be thinking that, okay, when I get a certain age, that's when I'm going to start. But no, these guys are starting at 12, 13, stuff like that. And it's just amazing.
That's wonderful. And it's just amazing. Like you say, they start early and they begin to thrive in doing things. And, with my platform, but I don't have to, but I do a lot of research on different things. And so I was doing some research this week, and in talking about credibility, in my book, I talk about the dash, the time between when you're born and when you die. So in talking about the credibility and everything, you have a certain period of time to make the best of your life. And we have no idea how short or how long that dash is going to be. And I just found it amazing. In my research, the NCAA is going on, and it was a young man, Oscar Freire, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly, from Grand Canyon University. His team, so he's a good player. He was a good player, but he led his team, and they were able to enter the NCAA, and the team hadn't been a part of this for a while. And then I think 2 days ago, he was in a terrible crash, and his sister and a friend died, so we don't know how long we're going to be here, what that dash is going to be. So it's so important that while we're here, that we try to build our best lives and we try to be positive people. So, I'm just so happy that he was able to, to have that in his life, that he made it to the NCAA before his short life was over. So that is another reason why it's just so important for our young people.
But then we can go into the flip side of that, which would be those that are not doing so well.
Right.
Yeah. We definitely got those too.
Yeah. Right.
Can you give us some examples?
Well, yes, of course, like I was just talking about earlier, we have, there are different reasons why, but, in Build Your Best Life, I teach basic principles because I'm finding that a lot of our young men, they get to a certain age, they get to college and their middle 20s, and a lot of basic principles they don't know. So I don't know if they're not taught anymore in school, or they're not taught in the home or whatever. But education is so important. I don't want to minimize education at all. However, basic principles or common sense type things, those are important as well, because they have to know how to live life, what types of things to expect in their lives. A lot of times those things come up. And then you have a lot of our young people, when I talk about obstacles, there are things that are happening to them today, but then a lot of them have been subjected to being in foster care, being in a single family home that was not, I guess, beneficial, because just because you're in a single family home, that's not a negative thing, because we have some strong moms and some strong dads that can handle it. But not everyone is fortunate, to have that strong one-based parent, and physical abuse. And so then they bring those things, and they're angry about them. They haven't had an opportunity to talk to anyone. And then they get low self-esteem, they get depression, they want to commit suicide, or they can take this other route, and then they go out and start doing doing gangs, shooting up people, selling drugs, or they just don't do well in school. It doesn't have to be anything that drastic, but it might be just that they're not doing well in school. And like I was talking Thursday, it might be you're not doing well in school, but it may be something simple as you need eyeglasses. But has anyone taken the time to notice, instead of just saying, you're not doing well in school, you gotta do better. I don't know why you're not studying. They may be studying, but they can't see, well enough to grasp what they need to grasp. So they have all of these things. So they, begin to act out and do different things. And, we have to be, this is real talk. So I'm just going to say it, our young people of color, they have their issues, but then they have biases against them as well. So like I was talking earlier about the young man, even though he had mental issues, his family saw him with these assault weapons. They didn't do anything to take it, but he went out and took out 10 lives. I mean, the first responder that got there, that man had 7 children. He took him out, and 9 other people. He got shot in the knee. And it just made me pause, and I'm like, he got shot in the knee. Now, at the time, they didn't know this was somebody that was suffering from mental issues. So how was it that he didn't get, rippled with 30 bullets? He just got shot in the knee. So our young people have all these things going against them. So that is why we have to work really, really hard to make sure that because of course they wouldn't, a lot of them wouldn't be on here this morning at 9:30 listening to this. So that's why it's so important to get the parents, the educators, the pastors, mentors, coaches listening and passing the information on, or working with them one-on-one to assist. So this is a team effort. We have to work together, but it can be done, I think.
Oh, I agree with you. I definitely think that it can be done. And I'm glad that you mentioned the support system that is needed for it to be done. Because I remember I had a parent meeting one time with a 5-year-old, and the little boy wasn't grasping the concepts well that were being given by his teacher. And so I spoke to him before I asked for the parent to come. And I asked him, I'm like, okay, so why? Tell me what happens when it is that you're in the classroom, or why it is that you don't think, do you need to sleep more? Do you need to eat more? I'm trying to get any sort of resolution that I think can help him, that I know I can assist with. And he tells me, because of course, the teacher question is, you don't want to be a smart boy? Don't you want to grow up to be a smart young man or whatever? And his answer to me was no. And so when he said that, that is when the questioning stopped, the conversation ended, and I knew that I had to get his parents in. And when I asked him the same question in front of his mom, he gave the same answer. His response did not change.
Ooh.
And so she was shocked by it. And so she said to him, she pulled him closer. She's like, really? Like you don't? He said, no. He said, I don't want to go to this school. I want to go to the school where my cousins go. And so she says, you are in private school. Like you want to go to government school where your cousins are, where they play around all day and so on and so forth. And he said, yeah, that was what he wanted. And so I cannot say that he was purposely not doing well so that he can go to their school. But it was amazing to me that at 5, you can decide in your head that no, I'm not really interested in being a smart boy because you know what? All I want to do is go over here and do what the others are doing and just get along how they're getting along. And it was very upsetting. But we also need to open our eyes to the fact that even at 5, they have their own train of thought. They have their own decision-making process. And it is not going to take just us as educators. It's not just going to take parents in the home, but the entire community of people are needed to show these kids into their teenage years that, there's a lot to live for, there's a lot to aspire to, and there's a lot of building that they can do.
Yes.
So as for the self-destructing, I think that part probably comes in more in their teenage years. Do you think so?
Yeah, I would agree. And I just found it really, really strange. But also when they get in those teen years, sometimes it's not cool to be smart. And
Exactly.
when you have, when you're the one that raise your hand and you have all the answers and the teacher's always calling on you and say, oh, wonderful, you aced the exam or whatever, they begin to bully them. Oh, you just a nerd. Why are you, blah, blah, blah. And then those kids, sometimes depending on their mindset, they may back off and stop doing their work, because I had that happen with my youngest child. I couldn't understand, well, what's wrong with your grades? And I know you do your homework because I make sure you do it. But because he was being teased, he stopped passing his homework. Boy, I said, you don't let anybody allow you to dummy yourself. Don't dummy down. I said, I'm sending you, paying for you to go to school so you can get the best education, because I know you're bright, you're smart, and you're going to be somebody. Hey, you need to get your education for yourself. You can't worry about what they're saying, what they're doing. Because years from now, you look back and see where they're going to be, But so he listened, but he could have, very well went the other way and said, the heck with this. I'm going to be with my friends. I'm going to make C's.
Yeah, I've seen it myself with children's ministry. There are ministers' kids who you would expect to know the Bible better, to be better versed in scriptures and meanings and things like that. And I can remember a little boy particularly, I mean, his parents weren't ministers, but, both of them were very strong in their faith, and they taught him and his sister from baby. And so a lot of the stories that we did and everything, they were already familiar with, so they were able to answer questions. They go to a Christian school also. And then I noticed that, that little hand wasn't going up so often anymore. And so when I pulled him aside and had that conversation with him, that is exactly what he said to me, that he started getting teased in church. He started getting teased by some of the other kids because, they thought that he was being a pet and he was always answering questions. And so he wasn't cool anymore or anything like that. And it was really disturbing. I had to have a talk with his parents about it so that they be aware of the situation. but we are not the ones that are walking in their shoes. And so we can only do our best to try and give them the tools that will strengthen their back and broaden their shoulders to be able to handle the things that they go through on a daily basis, because we can't make those steps for them. We have to teach them how to make those steps even stronger.
All right. Yeah, thank you, Jocelyn. Jocelyn Charles says teenagers want to fit in. So that's the thing.
Yeah.
So they do whatever.
In your blog, you talked about eagles and crows. I love the analogy. Can you talk more about that for me?
Sure. And I'd love to tell the story. So I need everyone to just get your imaginations working, but imagine a regal eagle with a crow sitting on its back. Well, that's what happened. An eagle was soaring as they normally do, while this crow sat on the eagle's back and it was biting the eagle. Now, the eagle didn't try to turn around and get the crow off as we would do. You know, we would do something to try to get something off our backs. He just continued to fly. And it says that the only bird that will dare peck an eagle is the crow. So this crow just sits on this eagle's back and continues to bite him. So the eagle doesn't respond or anything. It simply opens up its wings and begins to rise higher and higher in the sky. The higher the eagle flies, the harder it is for the crow to breathe. And then, due to a lack of oxygen, the crow falls away and the eagle is free. So what's the moral of the story? Stop wasting your time with crows of life. The crow represents all the challenges that you have. So I just thought that that was an amazing story that I included in my blog, because, you know, just think about it. That eagle is soaring and it's going up. So it is doing what it does. It's being itself, and it is regal, and it knows that it can soar higher and higher, and it's not letting that crow deter it in any way. The crow is that biting. Hey, that's just a challenge in life. I'm going to get over it. And, you know, it's painful, yes, but that's just something in life. I'm going to get over it. You know, and it's just like when you are driving in a rainstorm and you like, oh, do I need to pull over? Do I need to pull over? And whoever is riding with you might say, no, just keep going. But you keep going and you drive out of it, and it's sunny on the other side. So this eagle just kept going because he knew that there was something better for him higher up. So that's what, you know, our young people have to do. They have to want to soar above the rest, not fit in, but stand out, to be who God made them to be. God gave them talents of their own. They have minds of their own. They are potential scientists, mathematicians, presidents, business owners, CEOs. So they need to take their talents and their skills and use those to the best of their abilities to be who they can be, to build up those reputations, to build up those credibilities, to make a name for themselves with what they have. And it's the same thing with all the people. You know, people can pull you down because people have negative. They don't want to see you do well a lot of times, even though it might be somebody that's supposed to be your ride or die friend. You ride or die until you start doing better. And then, oh, well, why are you doing that? Well, I noticed you got on a shirt and tie. Why do you have on a shirt and tie? It's casual Friday. You don't have to wear a tie. This is the way I want to dress. You don't let them change you, you know. Well, why are you applying for different jobs? Well, you were only on that job 2 years. You're not going to just stay there for about 5? No. But they will begin to try to talk you down from seeing, you know, they see that you're going somewhere, you want to be somebody. So if you are, or if our young people are in the midst of people that are not trying to go somewhere, or be somebody, they need to walk away. And sometimes I say they need to run away from those friends, because those are not really friends. Those are someone that is in their lives for a season, for a reason, to teach them, a lesson. So there's never anyone that's there just because, but they're there to teach you something. But if someone is not trying to be positive and trying to make something of their lives, then that's a waste of your time. You're so much better than that. And if you are around negative people, negative talk, that will bring you down. Even sometimes, it's unfortunate, but sometimes parents and loved ones can bring you down. You may say, you know what? I think I want to be astronaut. I'm gonna study aerospace science. You want to be an astronaut? You don't even like to fly. Why you think you're gonna be an astronaut? That's not what parents are supposed to do. Well, that's interesting that you would want to be that. And being a scientist, you have to be very good in science and math. So make sure that you take those classes when you're in school. Let me know what I can do to support you. You don't diminish your child's dreams. It might be a dream that they're just thinking for the moment, but you need to back them up and show them encouragement, because that makes a big difference.
It really does. While you were speaking, it reminded me of what Coach Ricardo always tells us. There's always someone assigned to help you. And in most cases, we would want that person to be our parents or some other family member. But, sometimes that's just not the case. Sometimes a friend is better family to you than your actual family. And it's, it is what it is. You can't take away from it. You can only embrace it. But I know that with my son, I always had the dream for him to, go off to college and to get a degree, to come back home and, this high paying job and everything else. And so ever since he was little, I've been kind of grooming him in that direction, the colleges are going to look for academics. They want you to be a well-rounded student. So he was playing baseball. They're going to want you to be a part of clubs and stuff like that. So he joined GGYA, which is Governor General's Youth Awards. And, we were looking at other clubs and things like that for him to do. But in the midst of all of that, he tells me, that's not what I want. That's not where my interest lies. He said that he wants to be an electrical engineer. Apparently, the teacher at his school has gotten him inspired to the point where he feels like this is something that he can do. And so I could have told him, well, you could be working with your hands, you could be sweating all the time. I could have found any other thing to tell him to discourage him from it. But when he said it to me, I had to take a step back and be like, okay, then. He doesn't want to be a drug dealer. He doesn't want to be somebody's pimp or something crazy like that. It's just another profession. And there's nothing degrading or demeaning about the profession, because we always have this thought now that, you've got to be a college graduate to do well. That is supposed to be the logical next step. But persons that are working with their hands, these skilled workers, these blue-collar workers, they are making major money. They have been essential also during this pandemic. We have some persons who have degrees in different areas that weren't able to work and still aren't working now. But we've got blue-collar workers that are going and haven't stopped going this entire time. So you have to open your ears and you have to listen. And it may not be what you want to hear, but you've got to open yourselves to the possibilities of what it can become. These kids, they need encouragement. They need someone in their corner.
Definitely. And that's I'm glad that you said that. We talked about that, I think Tuesday with Pastor Smith, that, we do aspire for our kids to want to go to college, but that's not for everybody. But, like the electrical engineers, welders, those type trades, those are needed. Those are high paying jobs. And who's to say he's not going to be the owner of the electrical engineering company, So it takes all types of jobs, and you just need to be the best at whatever job it is, using the talents that you have, be the best that you can be. And it's okay. It's an honest living, and it's profitable, 6-figure, 7-figure, jobs. So college is not for everyone, even though that's the thing that we always say, but we do understand. I understand that, hands-on is great, as well as our armed forces. So someone might want to go into the Air Force or whatever until they figure out what else they want to do. And then by going into that line, if they decide later that they want to go to college, then, it's paid for. So it's all different types of ways to be the best that you can be.
So in closing, do you want to give our audience some tips on building their credibility?
Sure. So, of course, everything that you can do positive as a positive note will assist you. So some of those things are: manage what you're doing, watch your associations, those people around you, stop, think before you act. A lot of times that's why, we get in trouble, because it's just something pops up and we pop out. We forget everything that we know. It's just that temper. You're either using words that you shouldn't use, or pulling weapons, or your fists and fighting, and it doesn't take all that. So you need to stop, take a breath, think, and then act. Remember, you need to protect your name, your reputation, and your credibility. Sometimes it's all you have, because if you are a young person, you have to build up to that credibility. So all you have is your name. So if somebody says, "Hey, do you know John Brown?" "Oh, yes, I know him." Okay, are they going to say, "That's the young man that lives down the street. He's so respectful. I've seen him. And I know he goes to school every day. I see him. That's all I see. See him going to school, helping his mom around the house, whatever." Or, "Yeah, John Brown, I see him hanging out on the corner. He's nothing but a thug." So if you're young, it might be that that's the only thing you have is your name. So you want to make sure that you protect it. Be honest. Be honest. Like I used to always tell my kids, do not lie to me. If you did something wrong, when you come to me, or if I ask you, tell me the truth. Because if you tell me the truth, you're going to get in far less trouble than if you lie to me and I find out you lied. So be honest. I know if you're in trouble, you think, what's going to happen? What are my parents going to do? Yeah, like, because I had one of my sons, he was small, took something out of the store. The dad made it and take it right back up to the store and give it to the store owner and apologize. So, these are life lessons. These are some of those basic things that I'm saying that you need to help you. Listen to authoritative figures. I know a lot of times we think parents and grandparents, oh, they're old, they don't know anything. Just because we don't talk the language or talk the talk that y'all talk, that doesn't mean that we haven't been through some things and we know some things. And the only reason why we try to, sit you down and talk to you is because we know that there are some things that you're going to have to experience for yourself. However, you don't have to take all the bumps and bruises of things that we have experienced and learned through life. So we can give you some tips that will help you. Oh, well, yeah, my mom told me that, everybody that smiles in my face is not my friend. So, I got to be wary about people, you know, every time I see them, they want to borrow something. They want to borrow something, but they never pay it back. You know, what is that about? You know, so listen to people. Your educators, you know, a lot of people think, well, I'm not doing well in that class. Oh, my teacher mean. I'm scared of my teacher. The meanest teachers I had were the ones that I learned the most from, because I made sure I sat there and I listened, because they're not mean. They are there to do a job. And sometimes in the environment that you're in, you have to put on that stern face to get, you know, the kids engaged to pay attention, because they're used to just running over people and doing different things. So, you know, it's not that they're not there to help. But if you go to that teacher, that professor, and ask for help, they will help you. I know, because I'm one of those. I'm not gonna sit and be a dummy and just sit there and don't know something and just sit there and turn in papers or whatever. Especially since I've been going to college, I'm gonna ask some questions. I don't understand. You know, can you help me? What are your office hours? They are there to help. Be punctual. It's nothing like being late. When you're late for different things, you hold up that other person. If you don't care about your time, that's one thing, but you deter other people. And, you know, who wants to know about you? You're always known for being late. And I don't know if my friend on here, Peggy, you on here? I always tease her because she always late. But that's my friend. So we know that, you know, what we need to do to make sure she on time. And keep your word. Keep your word. You know, Anastasia said, yes, you know, Deborah, 4 Saturdays that'll work. And then somebody else say, hey, Anastasia, oh, I was looking at your platform, Be Coming, and I want you to start being on 4 Saturdays. Can you do? Well, you know, I really would like to. However, I have an obligation on 4 Saturdays already at 9:30. What time is yours? So it's a way to approach it. It might be at a later time, but you don't automatically say, oh, yes, I'd be glad to do it, because you have given your word. So Anastasia, I'm sure you probably have some additional tips.
Maybe. Not exactly an additional tip, but what I would say is that in the area of being honest, it's not just, you know, like the example that you gave, which I found so funny, because I told my kids the exact same thing. I told them, listen, tell me, don't let me have to find out from somebody else. Don't let me have to figure it out on my own. Because if all of that process has to happen, you're going to be in more trouble than if it is that you just tell me and explain your point of view of what happened. But it's not just a person being honest with you or with, you know, someone else, but being honest with themselves. You know that you've seen signs in a person to say that, you know, this person is not exactly a very good friend to me. But you keep on lying to yourself and saying, no, 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 man, she's my friend. She's got to be my friend. We hang out all the time, and she is so nice to me every so often and stuff like that, you know. But you know that when you and this person are together, that they're actually talking bad about you, that they're trying to undercut you in any way that they can. But on the surface, they're presenting as your friend. You're seeing these signs. You know what a true friend looks like, but you're lying to yourself and saying that this person is your friend and you know that they're not. You're lying to yourself when you say that, you know, I really can't do that thing, you know? I really can't learn this skill. I really can't go this place or whatever. And you're allowing fear to stop you from doing something or being something that, you know, it may have been a part of your destiny to be. And you're lying to yourself and saying, oh, I can't, I can't, I can't. When in reality, you really can. If you push yourself a little bit more, if you commit to it a little bit more, you know, it's something that you can do. So in your honesty, it's not just about being honest with other people, but being honest with yourself.
Great. Thank you so much, Anastasia. This has been some great real talk. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. And we will look forward to seeing you next fourth Saturday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for Real Talk with Deborah and Anastasia. So I hope that something that we talked about got your juices flowing, and you will share this information with someone. I know there's someone that you know out there that can benefit from this information. So we appreciate it so much if you will share. And also, for those of you who don't know, I did write a book, Build Your Best Life. And it has the same basic information that I use in my webinars, my speaking engagements, my coaching and everything, but it's basic principles to assist our young men and be having better lives. And the book is not just for young men, it's for young men and young ladies, for parents, educators, pastors, and everyone that wants to make a difference in the life of a person. So if you would go on my website, www.buildyourbestlife.org, my web store is out there, and you can get an autographed copy of the book as well. My blog is out there, my calendar of events. You can learn more about my platform. So please go out to my website, www.buildyourbestlife.org. If you have questions, please feel free to put them in the comments, or you can direct message me as well. Anastasia has copies in the Bahamas, and she will tell you how to get your signed copy of the book if you're in the Bahamas. Anastasia?
If you are here and you would like to have a copy of this Deborah's book, you can reach out to her through the website still, and I will make arrangements for drop off and exchange and everything but you're going to reach out to her first, and then she's going to get to me.
Okay. And also, if you like, oh, that sounded interesting, I like some of the things that y'all were talking about, and you just want to have it in your hands today, you can get a copy from Amazon.com, as well as have the ebook on Amazon. So again, thank you so much for tuning in, and please remember to comment, share, and like this video. And we have some exciting things coming up. Remember, the Original Christians will be on Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please come and join us on Tuesday. I appreciate it. And remember, as you go through your life, on your road to your destiny, you will run into distractions, rough terrain, pitfalls, and detours. Don't let any of these negative aspects of your journey stop you. Though they may slow you down, keep going to be the best you so that you can build your best life. Thank you again for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your day. Be blessed. Anastasia, thank you so much. And I can't wait until next month on fourth Saturday. So bye-bye, everybody. Be blessed.